Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of Freedomland USA?
Freedomland USA. Yeah, grew up there, baby. Southwest Missouri.
That's just what we call it here. And if you're listening from outside the U.S., all we call it is just Freedomland.
Freedomland USA, baby, a.k.a. Branson, Missouri. Oh, yeah. We've got the ball knobbers. We've got the ball knobbers. Couldn't think of another act. Oh, the Clay Cooper Country Express. We've got a group of old guys who pretend they're the Beatles every Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, we've got the...
Think about some of the shows that exist in Branson. I think about this a lot. Why? You know? And that's really the only question I have. They're straight up is a Beatles tribute band, and they sell tickets.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal.
And like they
know their audience. They know their...
You know?
Hey, you got good hips, son. You want to be my Cinderella? For a quarter, you get to see what an episode is like with the lights off.
From the airport. Look at that.
Took it from JFK.
That's the joke you want to make? That's disgusting. Legally, can't tell you no.
He said the Great Chicago Fire was devastating for the city of Chicago, but really, really helpful for our theme park.
Things I learned last night. So, Freedomland USA.
Yeah, can you guess what it is?
Oh, man, I want to guess that it's a cult.
Oh, gosh. I kind of wish it was. No, it's not a cult.
It's a roadside attraction.
Sort of. That's closer. It was a theme park that opened in June 19th, 1960.
Okay.
And it was a huge success.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Where at?
New York, in the Bronx. So
say it like that. In the Bronx.
I just said Bronx.
New York. In the Bronx. What is your deal?
I just said Bronx.
Yeah, but you said it weird.
In the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
Yeah, you can't.
New York.
That's the letters.
Bronx.
Phonetically, Bronx is pronounced
Bronx.
like that. Bronx. You can't say Bronx.
You can't say Bronx.
Yeah.
You gotta go Bronx.
It's impossible.
Stupid. So, was it really in New York?
Yeah, it's in the Bronx. 100%. That's totally
I thought you were
true.
being dumb.
No, it's in the Bronx.
Freedomland USA.
So Freedomland USA. To paint the picture for this, we need to look at the guy who started it a little bit to paint like the
Vince
backstory.
McMahon. It was early 60s. He was very young.
He was just a child.
Just a wee lad in the
like,
Bronx.
Someone give me $13 million. I want to open Freedomland.
Well,
with this little walk.
Even as a toddler.
Yeah, as a toddler. No, it was started by this guy named C.V. Wood. And there's a little bit of gray area. I should say this guy, he's kind of a mystic figure because even his name, no one's really sure
if that's his real name,
if it's legit. So allegedly, C.V. Wood stands for Cornelius Vanderbilt Wood.
Which is such a cool... Cornelius?
Yeah.
I wish it would make a comeback.
Yeah.
This is my son, Cornelius.
I'll just use it. Use it.
Yeah, do you think that's what Neil is short for?
Maybe.
People named Neil?
Neil. If your name's Neil, send us a message or leave
Cornelius?
a comment and tell us what it's short for.
Yeah. Neilard.
No. Another theory is that his name is Comrade Vanderbilt or Commodore Vanderbilt Wood.
Commodore
Vanderbilt Wood. But he, when he was asked, like by reporters, they would say, what does CV stand for? And he would say, C for nothing, V for nothing. So, I don't know who this
Your name is Cuthing Vothing? All right, Mr. Cuthing Buthing. Where do we go from here? C for nothing, V for nothing. That's suspicious. Dude.
I know. Yeah.
That's like whenever I was working at Chick-fil-A and I'd be like, hey, can I have a name for the order? And someone would go, why? And I was like, because I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to come to your house after this and I'm going to take all your knickknacks while you're sleeping. What do you think? I'm going to call your name out for your order, you absolute psycho. Like, yeah, can I have a name for your order? Why? I don't know, dude. I'm gonna steal your identity.
Have you ever been to a place like this?
You ever been to a restaurant? You ever been? You ever been to the public before? What do you? Yeah, put my name as Merry Christmas, so you have to say it. We already say that here.
Okay,
we call it Christmas. Go ahead.
But he preferred from a young age
CV.
just Woody. He just wanted to go by Woody.
CV's cool though.
CV is pretty cool. Honestly, Cornelius Vanderbilt's cool.
Cornelius
Commodore
Wood is cool.
Vanderbilt is cool. Commodore.
I thought you said Boblador.
Boblador.
I was like, okay,
Boblazor.
that was a twist. Commodore's a cool name.
And so he preferred Woodsy. He went by Woodsy. Woodsy. But anyway, so he was born in Oklahoma, but then his family moved to Amarillo, Texas.
So just the boring parts.
Yeah. And then went through middle school, high school, whatever. Went to college at Hardin-Simmons University in Abilene, where he actually became a champion trick roper for the school's cowboy marching band. So all of that.
Yeah, the whole sentence there, huh?
I mean, if you're a trick roper for your local Cowboys marching band,
yeah,
what?
Feels like you auditioned to be in the band, and the band director was like,
"Can you do it on a horse?"
Musical talent, I mean, nothing. You know? No. They don't do it on a horse. The trick roping stuff, that's not done on a horse.
You know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I grew up in Mount Vernon, dude.
That.
So they freaking, it's you know what it is? What? It is the cowboy equivalent of those girls downtown, the hula hoop. You understand what I'm talking about? And they do like the weird stuff with their hands, and they got the hula, and they just do it on their ankles. It's that with a cowboy hat on and some masculinity. Yeah, there's no hip movements.
That makes sense.
They pick up a rope and they make it to where, and they giddy up through it or whatever.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that. Now that you're saying that. So he was a champion at that.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Best.
Pretty good at that. Well, he stayed there for a couple of years, studied engineering, and then dropped out and just went straight to a pretty major aircraft manufacturing company called Convair, and just lied and said he had his degree, and they believed him. And so he just started engineering airplanes. Yeah, he was just like, yeah, I got my degree. And they were like, cool, you're hired. Build an airplane for us. And so
he was like, I know how to do that.
Like, I don't understand. And
that makes me very secure in the amount of flights that I take.
And so he worked there for a few years. After that, he was able to kind of take the next step into his career and work for SRI, which you might remember from a remote viewing episode.
Yeah, they make that hot sauce.
Yeah. What is SRI?
Racha.
Oh my gosh.
Sriracha.
Yeah, they spent years studying if it was possible to travel to different planets using only your mind, and then also made this hot sauce. Huh? That's what they traveled to.
Everybody
Venus.
makes a hot sauce these days. There's so many hot sauces. Every year there's a new hot sauce. Here's my family recipe.
Thanks for touring the Empire State Building. Here's the Empire State.
Here's a
hot
picture
sauce.
of an old lady I found on the internet, but I'm going to tell you it's my grandma who makes this salsa, and you should buy it. And it'll go viral on TikTok, even though that lady does not exist. Yeah. Oh, she exists. There's a picture of. Well, I don't know. It could be a fake person.
Yeah. So he worked at SRI.
You want to create a deep fake person to sell some salsa?
Yeah, let's
We're going to move some sriracha.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make a deep fake person to sponsor, to be our.
Watch their commercial right now. Some people are going to hear it. Some people are going to hear silence.
Yeah.
You know?
It just depends if you believe. You didn't have enough faith to hear.
Yeah, well, sorry about that, I guess.
So
he's just faking his way through
If you didn't hear the remote viewing episode, SRI stands for Stanford Research Institute. Mm-hmm.
And we're going to play that episode now.
Yes, here it is.
Don't do the theme song thing.
So it's a company that just researches stuff, and they got contracted by the government to research a lot of really fringe stuff.
Yeah.
But they also did like some legitimate like engineering and research projects. including one for Walt Disney. And so Disney hired SRI to do the viability study for the original Disneyland. And so
interesting.
This guy,
So
CV Wood,
sees all this.
well, he was the guy that was assigned to that project.
He's
so
like, no,
he
wait a
did
minute.
the study.
I would call this viable.
Yeah. He said this could work. And he just has this charm to him, which is why I think he was able to build a career in engineering without any, like, you know,
Charisma.
yeah, like, well, I was going to say without any,
No, he has charisma. That's
he
what I'm
has
saying.
charisma. He has no accreditation. But yeah, so he kind of did this thing for this viability study for Walt, and Walt loved him. Walt was like, this is a great guy. I really like him.
Yeah.
And so he hired him as the first employee of Walt Disneyland.
Oh.
And he was the VP of operations for Walt
I thought you were going
Disneyland.
to say he ran the gift shop, but I like it.
Hey, I like
you got spunk, kid. You know, the way you do those weird rope things, that's pretty neat. How would you like
Have you heard of
to
Cinderella?
sell plush toys?
Hey, you got good hips, son. You want to be my Cinderella?
That went a super weird direction that I wasn't ready for. I don't like the accent. I don't like the "you got good hips, son." I don't like the comma "son" in that sentence. You know what I'm saying? That's what made me really uncomfortable about that was the comma "son."
What can we say?
You got good hips.
He's got good hips.
That's what he was looking for when he was looking for a Cinderella. You know,
a dude with great
famous
hips.
for her hips. What are you talking about?
Anyways, he got hired as VP of operations for Disneyland.
Okay. And that's in the 50s.
Yeah, right before Disneyland launched. Well, before they
Landed.
even started construction or anything. So he called up all his old high school buds, no credentials, and hired them all as like VPs and COOs and everything for the park. And was like, we're going to build this world famous theme park. Theme park real quick.
Did he call it a world famous then?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna build this.
It's like Nathan's Hot Dogs. It's like, if we just call it world famous, they'll be
Or
famous.
it's like any restaurant that has sweet tea. It's our famous sweet
It's our
tea.
famous.
I think we're overusing the word, you know?
Once he starts working for him, Walt's like, oh, I don't like this guy. Like, he realizes pretty quick, he's like, this
You're
guy
weird.
is a liar. He's like, this guy is like, his whole game is just to kind of swoon you and get you excited about him and then go as far up the ladder as he possibly can and then get out and go do
then
it somewhere
switch to
else.
a different ladder.
Yeah. And so Walt didn't like him, but he didn't have like a good reason to can him yet. Like, he couldn't legally just be like, I don't like you, so you're fired. And so he was like looking for a reason to get rid of him. Well, he builds the park, does the whole thing, and the launch was kind of a disaster.
Okay. For Disneyland?
For Disneyland. So Disneyland's launch, like, I mean, everyone was hyped because it was Disneyland, and it got good, like, reviews from the public, but from critics, it was pretty bad because a lot of the rides weren't done yet. So a lot of the park wasn't open. Even the concrete at certain points was not fully dry. So women's heels were getting stuck in the concrete.
Kids were just stuck. Still stuck to this day.
Hey, welcome to Disney.
If you go to Disneyland, there's just like a bunch of empty shoes stuck in the concrete because they just had to slip their feet out.
Yep.
But what you have to do is you can't slip your feet out and step into more wet concrete.
Yeah.
You have to wait till it dries
Yep.
and then take your feet out of the shoes, and the shoes are just there forever.
Yep. You can never see them. And then what happens is there's like hundreds of all of these shoes in this one section of the park. And you see them, and then all of a sudden it just is one set of shoes, and it's like, well, that's where Jesus carried them.
Jesus carried all those kids through
Come with me,
Disneyland.
kids.
Yeah. Did you see the one set of shoes on the Disneyland sidewalk? Yeah.
That's where Jesus carried them. So it didn't go well, and so Walt's like, here's my opportunity.
I got that poem in my bathroom at home. Sketchers on the pavement. You know?
So it didn't go well, and so
So did the launching of Disneyland not go well because of what CV did, or
yeah, like he just kind of
just
wung
wasn't,
it.
just dropped the ball?
Yeah, he dropped the ball on a lot of areas. And so
Isn't this cool, guys?
yeah, and so a lot of stuff wasn't done. He had it understaffed, and it was just like, it wasn't to the quality that Disney usually puts things to.
I thought that the boomers always say that everyone worked hard back then.
not CV.
You're telling me that it's the same?
Okay. So
Back in my day.
so he got fired, but then he was like, I got Disneyland on my resume. And so
Yeah,
he just went to Denver.
Isn't that stupid?
And he found some rich investor and he's like,
Hey,
I made Disneyland.
opened Disneyland.
Yeah, he's like, I made Disneyland. You want to
Do you want
build
to
a
build
park?
an airport? The guy was like, sure.
So he goes to Denver and he pitches Magic Mountain, which was a mountain in Golden,
magic.
Colorado that he was going to just turn the mountain into a theme park. It was supposed to be this like big Colorado history tour and with
Okay.
all a bunch of rides and stuff. You're going to learn about the dinosaurs and the gold and all the stuff that's like Colorado, right? Well, they did it, but they ran out of funding halfway through, the investor, and so it kind of got canned. So then he went and he started a new one called Pleasure Island in Wakefield, Massachusetts,
Yeah.
which did open,
Yep.
wasn't nearly as successful. And then
It's interesting to me how many theme parks there are.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
Like Silver Dollar City just exists, and a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's lots of theme parks. I mean, a lot of I bet every state has a few.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like a
I've
few.
never been to the Six Flags in St. Louis.
Yeah, neither have I.
Oh, yeah. You didn't grow up here. Did you go to Magic Mountain?
Magic Mountain wasn't a thing. I went to Six Flags over Denver, but it's not that anymore. Now it's the Village Gardens. But anyways, so the that was like a moderate
So
success.
he started doing theme parks.
Theme
though.
parks. He would just find
That
investors.
was
to
like
do
his
theme
like,
parks.
oh, this is money
Yeah,
makers.
and then he'd call up his old friends. He'd be like, "Hey, we're doing another one," and then they'd come with him. Well, then he goes to New York and he finds an investor in New York by the name of William Zeckendorf, who just had like 84 acres in the Bronx, and
In the where?
the Bronx.
Okay.
And he talked him into giving him $13 million to start a theme park, which would become Freedomland USA.
Okay.
And Freedomland, honestly, I think to get the picture, all you need to know about it is the map. If you see the map of this park, it's 84 acres
Okay.
in the middle of the Bronx.
Yeah.
And here.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with too many advertisements during the TILLN podcast? Have we got good news for you? Our patrons enjoy ad-free experience, and they get early access to content, behind-the-scenes stuff, exclusive merchandise, and access to a private Discord channel where we all are in it, our producers and the hosts. So if you'd like to be a patron today and solve that problem, why don't you text TILLN to 66866?
This is the park. It's literally the continental United States.
Okay.
And
This is.
and so the idea,
The idea was that it would be the United States. Like they would do all the Florida stuff down here and all the California stuff.
yeah, and so like every area would be themed to that geographic region of the
Yeah.
country.
Love that the middle doesn't have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's just open. Just a whole lot of nothing over there.
And the Great Lakes even.
Yep. That's a 6 foot deep lake that they dug. It's 10 million gallons of water that they poured into that.
Does this still exist?
No, it does not. No, it's
Is there something else there?
yeah, it's a bunch of condos.
But is the 6 foot deep lake still there?
I don't think so. Let's take a
Like,
quick
can
peek.
you Google satellite this or whatever? So the idea was that, you know, all the Texas stuff would have like the Texas World Fair down here.
Yeah.
And then California, they would put the Hollywood sign and it would be like California out there. And so you could travel the entire, they made it like, what's his deal with Michigan? He loves Michigan. Like he was like, I want to make the actual shape of Michigan.
Well, he wanted to make the
Great Lakes.
Great Lakes. Yeah.
How odd. What a weird decision.
Yeah. So,
And then they make mountains?
yeah. They put those little mountains in there. So like, there's actually a picture.
Is this a train that goes around? Is that what that is?
Yeah. So there's a couple modes of transportation throughout the park. I can't get maps
This is
to load right now.
84 acres?
The 84 acres. Yeah.
How big is that?
34 hectares.
How help me understand. Help me visualize.
Okay.
How many acres are between where I live and where you live?
Hold on. I'm just going to convert acres to miles.
Like, how wide is this?
I don't know.
Oh, they even got the San Francisco Bay. Like, he really built it.
Okay, so this isn't that big.
That's what I'm thinking.
So a square mile
Uh-huh.
is 640 acres. So this is significantly less than a mile. But that doesn't check out to me because there is like,
How
they
much
said that
stuff?
they said the train route is a mile in one of the things I read. So
Well, sure, but if you stretch that out, obviously, look, if you take that train route,
yeah,
and
if you
stretch it
take your
across the middle,
intestines and you stretch it out across the planet, it'll go across the planet 16 times.
I don't think that's true.
It's not true at all.
Yeah.
It couldn't be any less true. Yeah, so it's... Oh, wait, hold on.
So it's all within a square mile. Within an eighth of a mile. There's no way.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so they had 205 acres for the site.
Okay.
The park itself, within the bounds, was 85 acres.
Okay.
Or the rest of it was parking in the hotel.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a better...
So, yeah,
So about a mile.
roughly a mile worth of stuff. In
Okay.
there. So it's not
So
gigantic.
and it's also kind of packed then. It's all kind of
it's got to
crammed
be
together.
squeezed together pretty tight, to get all this stuff in here. But yeah, so there was a couple modes of transportation. There was that train that looped around the whole thing.
Yeah.
There also was a gondola system that went across the whole park.
Okay.
And then there was literal like a horse-drawn like what do you call it? Like from the Old West, like the carriages from the Old West. They called those something, but they didn't call them carriage.
Wagons.
Yeah. So they got a wagon you could ride across the whole park, which sounds like, and they even had mules. You could ride mules through the Rocky Mountains. That was one of the rides. It's like, let's just ride some
He also had
donkeys
his
through the
old
Rockies.
buddies from high school that you could just jump on their back and they'd carry you across the country. You know,
Yeah, you can jump on that guy's back because he's got good hips. He can take care of
he's
it.
got wide hips. Just why don't you go jump on Cinderella over there? All the mascots are rideable. You just jump on. You see. Okay, so wait, what year is this opening? How what's the time span between like getting the land and opening? Did it open?
So they got the land in 1958.
Okay,
And they started construction. They opened it in 1960.
so it did open.
Yeah,
Wow,
it did
in 2
open.
years.
It ran for 4 years.
Okay.
And they were some interesting years. So first of all, when they opened it, a very similar launch to the Disneyland launch. Not great because a lot of stuff was just not done. And so at this point, a lot of critics started saying, well, maybe CV Wood is the problem. This is your fourth park that's launched. That's
Not
kind of
great.
like a failure, but not a failure, but like, a failure. That's what my dad says about me.
Yeah, I mean, like not a failure, but like not a
like,
a success either.
It's like a failure, but like not a failure. Like
you know
a
what I'm saying?
failure.
Like a failure.
My dad doesn't say that about me. My dad says I'm a huge success.
Yeah, your wife says that about you, though. That's the difference. That's okay. She won't hear that. She doesn't listen to that.
So when they launched, a lot of rides were not done. A lot of construction was still like in progress in the park when they launched
Sure.
it. But the cool thing about it is they had the problem with the
They
cement.
still let you
again.
ride them.
Hey, we're still working on this, but you can go ahead
But
and
if
get on.
you want to try it,
You can try it out.
yeah, less of a hill, more of a ramp. You know. Yeah. So it's we'll let you do it.
Yeah,
Who
give-
cares?
Give it a shot.
It's
It's testing.
Freedomland.
Freedomland. Yeah,
Do whatever you want.
We can't tell you no.
Legally,
We
can't tell you no. Can you carry me across this park? You can do whatever you want. Will you let my friend punch you in the face? You bet.
You bet. My pleasure.
Can I have a name for this order? Why? I just want to know who's punching me, I guess.
So the cool thing about this one is he had the cement problem again. He laid the cement too late, so it wasn't dry. But what's great about it is this land used to be a landfill, and so there are reports, multiple reports, not one report, multiple reports of springs from box springs mattresses just shooting up from under the concrete and tripping people.
Ding. And you got him running around just like stomping on him.
Hey, guys,
hey, have a good
it's
day.
like whack-a-mole.
Yeah, if you stop too hard, it'll shoot you up, you know? It just, yeah.
I can't believe, I can't think of a more ridiculous scenario.
Then mattress springs?
Mattress springs shooting up through the floor of through the cement of your theme park. So needless to say, this one didn't launch very well either.
Right.
And it got pretty mixed reviews. The
So
public,
we're aware of the mattress springs. All right.
I need to let you all know that there are springs in the concrete. They are a ride. Jump on them.
Jump on it. That's one of our transportations.
That's one of-
It'll take you to the other side of the park. You know?
The critics hated it. They thought it was historically inaccurate because that was a big part. They wanted it to be a lot of history. So every region you came to was that region during a specific point in history.
People are like, wait a minute. I already know what history they were botching. All right. Yeah.
And so the critics were like, this is historically inaccurate. There's springs everywhere.
Yeah.
Half the rides aren't open, and they're still letting people ride them. And so the critics hated it, but the public loved it. The public was like,
Really?
USA!
Oh,
Like,
I guess, yeah, patriotism was high then.
yeah, they were amped about it. And so the public, there was like one person, like a reporter asked them. asked
I
them
mean,
if-
right outside my house, there are mattress springs coming out of my yard. And so it was crazy that they got that detail right.
They got that
you know?
like down to the detail. They asked him. They said, he said, I've been to Disneyland and I've been here. He said, I think they outdid Disneyland. So high praise.
Wow.
High praise from the general public.
Sure.
They loved it. But some of the park was a bit problematic. Like there was historical inaccuracies left and right.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm sure you probably can assume a lot of it was from the Old West era that painted the native population as just like these real bad guys, and everybody
they
else
went
was
that
like a
route.
hero.
They went the Wild Wild West. The Cowboys were taming the thing. Because they also could have gone the route that my elementary school did, in that we were all pals. You know?
Yeah. So they didn't really do anything like that. They did have this like Tartaria exhibit where it was like, yeah, this was all here when we got here. I'm kidding.
Shut
I'm
up.
messing
Oh my
with you.
gosh. I was like, don't
You
give
believe me
them.
for
I did for
way
a second. I
longer
was
than
like,
I
don't give them
expected.
hope on that. How did they treat the South?
So the South was interesting because they just had a giant New Orleans exhibit.
Oh,
so
interesting.
the South was pretty much all New Orleans. There was a Civil War thing, but it was just a shooting range. Like you just got there and just got to shoot.
Have you seen the old commercials for the Stampede in Branson?
No.
The old one where it's like the friendly rivalry between the South and the North.
God.
And it's like, yeah,
I don't think it was friendly.
friendly rivalry indeed.
Yikes.
That's what I'm saying, like, just stuff
they
like
didn't
that.
They didn't really touch on that. The only like Civil War thing was that shooting range. But they did actually, they had a pirate ship ride in the New Orleans that was actually purchased by Knott's Berry Farm, and they still run it.
Oh, hey.
And that ride was actually the inspiration for the Pirates ride in Disneyland.
Really?
And they like originally Disney wanted to make that like a much more fun and like upbeat ride like most of Disney, but then he saw the Freedomland and how dark it was, and he was like, kind of like that. And so then they
So wait,
went
Walt
dark with
Disney
it.
went to Freedomland?
Yeah, because he was
like, I hate
he's
this
like,
guy.
He's like, I hate this guy. Let's see him fail.
Let's see what he did.
Yeah, he's like, I want to see him fail.
Oh, dang it. This is really good. Man, shouldn't have fired him. Instead, let's just steal it.
Yeah, he's walking around. He's like, I can't believe he got the details down to the springs on the floor in the Bronx.
Look at those shoes. You know? He's got newer shoes than we've got. Ridiculous.
So let's just go on a tour. So the whole idea, you came in through New York, and it was 1930s New York. You drop in there, and it's like similar to when you get to Disneyland and you walk in and it's like all the shops and the restaurants and stuff.
You ever been to Vegas? Their whole New York thing?
Yeah. Similar concept. And so the whole idea was you walk in and you do your shopping and stuff, and then you have to carry your stuff around the whole park the rest of the day. And so in there, random shops, random like ice cream parlor, like a couple small rides. Nothing crazy in this part. There was like a tugboats ride and like a little horse-drawn
But like you're
carriage you
in
could ride
New
around.
York, so you don't got to go to New York.
Yeah. They're like we saw this, but like
They're like,
real. Like, man, look at that. That looks just like
wow.
the Empire State Building. It's just like that, but way smaller and cheaper.
Yeah. This in the Bronx?
So the most important part of this is they had a Welch's grape juice bar.
What?
So you just get
That's
first thing
not
I think
real.
every time I get to an amusement park is, man, I wish I had some grape juice.
But what's the bar? Why is there? Because there's one option. It's not like they're like, you can have grape
What do
juice
you have?
or grape juice. Like what are they?
Yeah, you sit down. Hey, what are you having?
What are you
and
having?
you're like, well,
hold
hold on.
You got like the dark lit thing, and he's got his hat down, and he's like, yeah, let's do hit me with a grape, please. Which is also what I'm going to do
Just
from
slide
now
it-
on
slide it across the
forever.
counter.
If I go to a restaurant
Hit
when
me
I'm
with
out on
the
the
grape,
road,
please.
I'm just going to sit with my hat down, and you're just like, been a long day. You guys got any
Grape.
grape soda? What if you asked for a grape soda at like an Applebee's?
They'd give it to you.
Do they have grape soda?
I'm sure they do.
You're sure they
I am
do?
sure they do. Let's go after this. Let's go to Applebee's.
They do
after
not
this.
have grape soda.
There's a really nice
I
Applebee's
will-
down the road.
I will bet you. I'll bet you $100 they don't have it.
All right, let's go.
Let's just call them. We don't have to go.
We can go.
I don't want to.
Gosh, you and your problem. Okay. Anyways, so
Hey, you want to grab lunch after this though?
so after you get
You think
your
Hawaiian Bros has grape bro?
yeah
grape
yeah
bros?
Hey, should we invite Alex?
Probably not.
Okay, cool.
I tried to last time. Here's the thing. Alex lives across the street from the place that Tim and I go to lunch every day. So most days, a lot of days, every day. So I text Alex last week and was
Yeah.
like, hey, but my service is really bad in that part of town.
Yeah.
Did not send until we were leaving.
Yeah.
And at that point, I hope
It
you
was-
still went.
It was great because he texted him after we left and said, "Oh, my service is really bad."
After we left, I was like, dang, we should have invited Alex. And then I texted him and was like, hey, man, we're going to lunch right now. You want to go?
Yeah.
And then later I was like, oh, it's just because my
service
service
is so
is,
bad.
I was over in the Bronx and didn't have any service. So they had a Welch's grape juice bar.
They had the Welch's grape juice bar, and then so that's all in New York. And so you hop on the little train
Okay.
and you go to Old Chicago. Old Chicago was set in
Oh.
1871
the pizza
Chicago.
place? Old
Yeah,
Chicago?
yeah, the actual Old Chicago. And so you went to 1871 Chicago, which the significant thing about
That's
this
what I
is
call
this
the
is
city of Chicago. Is the pizza place?
the pizza place. The significant thing about choosing this date was it's the year of the Great Chicago Fire. And
Oh.
so in really good taste,
They had burnt up buildings and stuff?
yeah, in really good taste, they had a ride where it was the fire. And they literally set the Chicago on fire, and they had like stagehands that ran around and put the fire out. And there's one part where they had the pumps, and the kids got to go run the pumps to put this Chicago fire out. And the best part of the whole thing,
That you're making this up.
this is 100% true. This is 100%
This is a
true.
ride.
This is a ride.
Well, they're like, you know what?
Remember that huge disaster that killed tons of people in Chicago, and like the city almost didn't bounce back
Yeah.
from it? Let's just make it fun. He actually said in an interview, he said the Great Chicago Fire was devastating for the city of Chicago, but really, really helpful for our theme park. I think he actually said
that's
but I
why-
think he said very amusing for our theme park.
So
the best part, though,
amusing.
the best part was that area of Old Chicago. One of the characters that they had running around.
I don't even know what you're gonna say. I don't like it though.
So there was the prevailing theory after the fire was that there was this Irish American immigrant in Chicago who had a barn in Chicago, and she was milking her cow one night, and she knocked over her oil lamp. That started the fire and burnt the city down. And
Okay.
she survived, and she faced a ton of ridicule. Like this was an actual named individual that they named in the paper. After her death, the reporter came out and said he made the story up. And so her
Just ruined her life?
Yeah, her and the whole Irish community like faced a ton of like really serious like ridicule for decades because of this reporter just made this up.
Yeah.
And this was like confirmed false for decades by the time this park opened up. But C.V. Wood was like, yeah, let's have her run around the park. And like literally the engagement that they encourage with the kids is to like ridicule the lady who started the fire.
Punch her in the face. It's Freedomland. You can do whatever you want.
Free, whatever you want.
Kill her if you want to. Like, wait, what?
Set her on fire.
What'd you just say, CV? Yeah. Take her out. Like, what the heck, man?
So
someone's job at this theme park was to get dressed as a milk maiden, show up, and just get made fun of by children all day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just to have children come up and be like, you started the fire.
But is that as far as they would go?
I don't know. I mean, it was the 60s. I don't know how good insults were back then. I don't know if they got there yet. Like,
That's true.
Insults have evolved.
If they were like, you look like a fire starter. You know?
Yeah.
Bazinga or whatever I said then. I don't know.
So there's a bunch of shops, a few other rides. There was like a Great Lakes cruise that went
That's in
around
Chicago.
the Great Lakes there.
They had a bus that would pull up and dump its poop, you know?
So just a bunch of random Chicago themed rides. There was a Hallmark card shop there.
Really?
Yeah, which was kind of random. And then you went to the Great Plains.
Well, you know, that's a Kansas City company.
Yeah, I know. But this is Chicago, not Kansas City.
Okay.
So then you ride the train to the Great Plains. And the Great Plains are themed through the 19th century, 1803 to 1900.
Yeah.
And I mean...
The Great Expansion,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's all these forts, all these like cowboy-themed stuff, all this really poor Native American history stuff. Just not really well done. My most favorite part of this side of the park was Borden's Milk Bar. Because nothing says, you know what, my grape juice is all gone. I could go for a glass of milk.
Dude, people who drink like a glass of milk, I think they should be on the FBI's most wanted list.
It's scary.
100%.
Especially like you consider like, it's like a hot summer day, like 94
Dude,
out.
and there are
You're
people
like, I could
who
go
are
for
like,
a glass of milk.
But here's what's worse. Not only people who would drink a glass of milk, but people who would make that skim milk. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. All right? Skim milk. Half water, half milk. Okay?
Half water, half skin.
Half.
Oh, you said
Skin
you didn't
milk?
say skin milk? I thought you said
milk.
skin milk.
You went skin milk? That's the joke you want to make? That's disgusting. All right? And you're drinking it. And you're like, I mean, I made fun of that lady in Chicago, but she's got a good product, you know?
Anyways.
Milk bar?
Yeah, so the Great Plains, they're
Okay,
really...
but which is weirder?
What?
Been a long day. Can I get a glass of milk? I'm gonna do it. Because know Applebee's has milk.
They do, for sure. I've done it.
I would love some buffalo boneless wings and a glass of milk, please.
Tall glass of milk.
Yeah. No, a pint.
Could I get a
please.
pitcher of
Can
milk?
Can I get a pitcher of milk? Yeah. And a dollarita for the lady.
Oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous.
What is it? Milk and margarita night? Let's go. I'm crying.
So the Plains had just like, it was like a bunch of shooting ranges. Like,
What would you do if you were at a restaurant with someone and the other person with you ordered a glass of milk?
I don't know. I'd probably judge them internally, but
You wouldn't say anything?
no, would you?
Yeah, probably. To the server.
What are you gonna say to the server?
I don't know, whatever their code is, you know, like they got it, like, you know what I'm talking about? Or you like they got a code that's like hey, can I get like this kind of cocktail? And it's like please call the police.
Yeah, fire.
You stand up and shout fire.
Fire!
Your friend is like, what?
This guy ordered milk.
This guy ordered milk. Now, true psychopaths drink. This is, I know that we're spending too much time on milk right now. But true psychopaths do ice in their milk.
Yeah.
Way worse.
Yeah.
That's a whole different. Anyway, go ahead.
Whole new level.
Hey, have you ever heard of TILLN podcast merch? That's right. We've got a full merch store of TILLN branded tees, mugs, stickers, hoodies, a lot more. And we put out new designs with every episode, but those are only available for a limited time. So you got to get those while they're hot. Text TILLN to 66866 to get access to our exclusive merchandise.
So there wasn't much else in the plains. Like there was like a bunch of
There's a milk bar and bad history.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of fields and a milk bar in the middle of it. Like we came all the way out here for this.
Well, I mean that's super accurate though. That's pretty much like our drive through Kansas.
No, yeah. So they had a few rides, but they were all like, I mean, they were just Old West themed rides.
Yeah. It's roller coasters were boring.
Yeah.
There's no hills. It's just a flat roller coaster. And people are like,
ah. That's a good ride.
please exit to your left.
Good ride. Yeah. Glad we're here.
Yeah.
So then next was San Francisco. It was
We had to go through the mountains first.
well, yeah, and so that was part of the plains, the
What's
plains
the mountains?
district, and
It
that's
ends.
where you rode the donkeys through the mountains if you wanted to. And then
How
was San
tall are the
Francisco.
mountains, you know?
I don't know, a few feet. I don't know. They are here. I'll pull up a picture of them while I start talking about
Real
San Francisco.
picture or the map?
Real picture.
Yeah, show us some real pictures of this place.
There's not a lot because I mean it was the early '60s, so like to get a picture taken, like you had to have like someone with a big old camera show up and.
Or a canvas.
Hey, can you paint a picture of this theme park for me? I saw one of these mountains earlier. Let's see if I can find it. So San Francisco, while I'm looking for this, San Francisco was set in 1906.
Okay.
And in San Francisco, there was like they had some of the like iconic points in San Francisco, like Chinatown. They had a root beer bar. So
Interesting.
a little bit more
When you're done with your milk.
when you're done with your milk. If you save your milk, you can put your root beer in it. And you got a root beer float.
That's not how root beer works. You're going to put warm milk in there?
Yeah, I just spent. I got this milk 2 hours
And
ago.
like you got to hold that milk while you're riding on that donkey too. So it's like spilled milk all over yourself.
So but here's the most significant part of it. I'm pulling up.
So
this.
San Francisco set in 1903.
Yeah, 1906.
Okay.
Here's
Emperor Norton's there.
Emperor Norton is there. Here's your mountains, and this is one of your wagons traveling through the mountains.
Why do you say it like it's mine? Like you're like, here you go. Here's what you've asked for.
It is what you've asked for.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So you see the
But look how many
train-
people there
the
are.
train
That
through there.
train is full, and
Yeah, I mean it was relatively.
so this
popular.
is the mountain. I see where there's rocks and
Yeah, they just piled up a bunch of rocks. This was the landfill that they just covered in rocks.
yeah.
Like make it so no one can see the mattresses.
Spray paint the mattresses silver.
Make them look a little more rocky.
But I mean, like they put effort into it at least. Like it looks.
Yeah, it looks coolish.
Sure.
But yeah, so 1906, San Francisco, and this was significant because that was the year of the Great San Francisco earthquake.
What is this deal?
And so again, they made this big old San Francisco earthquake ride, and that was the main attraction.
He was
in
like,
this
"Listen,
area.
it was pretty bad
Yeah.
for San Francisco. Super amusing for us, though." Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. And so you went through, and it was a ride where you like, it was like a little car ride, and then you went in the building and you drove through, and then like the power went out and everything started shaking, and like you saw stuff falling over, and a fire started, and you got to put out the fire and make fun of the lady who started the earthquake.
Yeah.
She started the earthquake.
I was just milking my cow. Set off a whole seismic activities.
I must have milked too hard.
I was shaking the tectonic plates. I just, whoops.
So, again, just picking out a tragedy and making a theme park ride out of it.
Yeah.
And then you went through the Old Southwest. Nothing super interesting there, except
Cacti.
for they did have just a herd of bulls that were just roaming around, and they were like, "Look, this is what it's like in Texas."
Like, don't get too close.
Yeah, watch out. Then you went through New Orleans, where there was we already talked a bit about New Orleans.
I'm surprised he didn't do more for Texas because he's from there.
Well, there was rides, but there's nothing interesting there. Right?
How many
Like,
rides total were there?
I think there was 89.
Oh my goodness, that's
It's a big park.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then New Orleans had a tornado adventure. So you just got to experience what it's like to die in a tornado.
Does New Orleans have tornadoes?
No. But it was the closest region to Tornado Alley in the park. I mean, I guess Texas probably would have made more sense. But,
Yeah.
And then Florida, instead of, doing something for Florida, he was like, this is Satellite City. And he was like, this is what the world's going to be like in the future.
Oh.
And so...
Wait, did Walt Disney like that one too?
Yeah, it inspired Epcot.
Did it really though?
I don't know. It could have.
Or Tomorrowland?
I don't know. I don't think it did, but who knows?
Could have.
On paper, it didn't.
Sure.
In reality,
Probably.
maybe. I mean, it's in Florida.
Yeah.
It's in Bronx's Florida. So yeah, they had like a Cape Canaveral thing where you like got to see what it was like to launch the rockets, and then all this educational stuff about space, and then just like some random like they had the Moon Bowl where it was like a big theater that they would simulate traveling to space inside a theater.
This would be like if we went to space in a theater. I know it doesn't feel like much.
And then they called it the Satellite Turnpike, so it was a freeway of the future. You just drove Teslas around. So, anyways, that's an overview of the park. A lot of problematic rides, a lot of weird stuff. It lasted for 4 years.
Yeah, what happened?
So,
Because it was popular.
yeah, but they opened it severely in debt. It cost them an insane amount of money to build this. It was a little too ambitious. And so they realized right away, they said, okay, first season we launch, we have to have 2 million visitors to break even.
Jeez.
And the thing about building a park in New York versus what Disneyland did was it had to be seasonal. Like there was going to be a part of the year where you can't run the park.
Yep.
And so they had to cram those 2 million people into just a few months in the warm months in New York. Well, they didn't do it. They got 1.5, which put them in a pretty bad financial situation that for the next 3 years they just struggled to get out of. And so of the next 2 years, they built a lot of attractions, rehabbed some areas. There was a section of Futureland where they put one of those moving walkways from the airport in there, and they were like, look at that.
From the airport. Look at that.
Took it from JFK.
Yeah. And you just go to JFK and there's just an empty part of the hallway. You're like, what the heck?
And there's just a lady with her cow walking around.
Like, I didn't do it.
Didn't do the fire. And TSA's like, what fire? Come with us.
Dude, that lady, I went on a ghost tour and there was just like a lady in the corner who was like, I didn't start the fire. And we're like, what are you talking about, old lady?
But then the fourth year is my favorite because then the fourth year they realized they didn't have enough money to open this season.
At all.
And so, but they were like, well, we could maybe do it if we opened just on the weekends. And so that's what they did because they said, hey, we'll just run the power on the weekend, have the water on the weekend, the staff on the weekend, we're fine.
Worlds of Fun exists.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of all the theme parks that exist. When was the last time you went to Worlds of Fun? Have you
I've
ever
never been to World's Fun. No, yeah.
Anyway.
So they just ran it on the weekend.
We should go.
But when they opened in season, guests came during the weekdays. And so they were like, well, people are here. And so they hired like a skeleton
People
crew.
showed up on the weekdays?
Yeah, they didn't know. I mean, there's no internet.
Yeah.
So people are just like, let's go down to Freedomland. And they drove down in their automobiles down to Freedomland.
Oh, yes. Let's head on down to Freedomland.
And they got there and there's a bunch of cars in the parking lot. So they walk up to the turnstiles and no one was there. But the owners of the park were like, well, hey, if we just hire a skeleton crew to man the turnstiles, we can charge everyone a quarter to come in and see the park when it's closed. And so they just let everybody into a park that was off and just let them just walk around for a quarter. And just do whatever you want, I guess. Like, just look at it.
I'm here to punch people. They're off today, Tim. Why don't you come back on Saturday? We'll let you punch a lady who's pretending to milk a cow.
Where is the milk?
We'll let you punch the cow, too. We'll let you do it. We won't tell. For a quarter.
For a quarter. That'll cost you a quarter. I just love the well, people are here. Let's just let them in, but not let them do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's like if Best Buy was like, yeah, come on in, but don't buy anything.
It's like if Circuit City was just like...
We're only open on the weekends.
You can still get in the building.
But you can get a tour,
Yeah.
a self-guided tour.
Self-guided tour through Circuit City.
Oh, cool. Do you have one of those headsets that tells me about stuff?
No.
No.
Yeah. If I come on Saturday, would you? No.
No. You can buy a Walkman.
Welcome to Radio Shack.
So eventually the theme park got shut down because they ran out of money. They went bankrupt.
Yeah. Can't pay the bills with quarters.
Yeah. And the guy who owned it built a bunch of condos. And what's really...
Do you have the satellite pulled up of... Sorry. Do you have the satellite pulled up of what this is now?
I don't have a satellite, but I do have a picture of it. I'm pulling it up right now.
Of what exists now?
Yeah.
Oh,
and so they just put a bunch of... I mean, I struggle to call these tenements. Or I want to call them tenements. I struggle to call them condos.
Okay.
It's called Co-op City. And so it's like... it's a bunch of... Oh my gosh, this is taking forever to download. It's a lot of...
Is it because you're still streaming Price is Right? Tim was just watching Price is Right in the office this morning.
By myself.
Taking up all the Wi-Fi. Like nothing was working. I was trying to do work. I was here.
You weren't here.
Getting stuff done.
I
bright and early.
literally thought, I was like, how funny would it be if everyone walked in to shoot today and I was just in here watching Price is Right while I worked?
Yeah.
And so I did.
Well, here's my question. Drew Carey or Bob Barker episodes?
It was a new episode. It was like live TV. I was streaming live TV, so it was Drew.
So
Anyway,
See?
so here's Co-op City. So just a bunch of like high-rise apartment buildings.
Okay.
And here's what's interesting.
And a nuclear plant.
What's interesting about it is it seems like...
This isn't modern.
No, yeah, he built... I mean, it was 1964 when they went under.
I'm looking
shortly
at this
after.
picture. This picture looks 2008, 2010.
Yeah. You want a newer picture?
I want a sky view. You know?
Okay, let's see if this is Skyview.
Like I want like a Google Maps. I want to see the Great Lakes is what I mean.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I want to see what the layout looks like now.
You might be able to see him in this one.
If you listen close at night in some of these buildings, you can still hear that lady. Oh.
So
yeah.
And here's the thing. It seems like this was the guy's plan from the beginning because...
to do condos there?
To do condos there. It seemed like the guy who invested in it just needed some way for it to make a little bit of money for a few years until he was ready to build the condos.
Interesting.
And so there's like this conspiracy that he was really just waiting to build
those
his
buildings
condos.
look terrible though. They all look the same.
Yeah, I mean it's your stereotypical like old.
But the landscaping looks great. Looks very green.
I mean, I think that's just natural landscaping.
Okay.
All right, I've got the satellite up.
Okay.
I'll pull it up. This is Co-op City.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the area around it has since been developed to other stuff. I
Okay.
don't know if maybe this was the lakes. I don't know. That's definitely
Zoom
like
out
a normal
further.
river. That's a normal river. Yeah, I don't see anything that would
Wait, go back
suggest
out.
that there was a lake anywhere.
That whole little area right there, Co-op City, that's how big it was?
Yeah.
There's not even a shape there anymore. You can't even tell.
Yeah, so here's an Aldi. It was probably like 400 or 500 Aldis.
Wait, zoom in a little bit. Because I think we might be looking at this thing upside down as well. I think that that little loop at the bottom is Florida. You know what I'm saying? No. Up. That.
This?
Nope. Up. There you go. That is Florida.
This is Florida.
Yeah. So that means that little above the co-op city to the left would be the Great Lakes.
Can I rotate this?
I don't think so.
Oh, no. So the Great Lakes would be over here somewhere
Right above Harry S. Truman High School.
in the freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't see anything that looks Great Lakey. I mean, maybe this.
I don't know.
Just fill in with some trees.
So that's smaller than what I was even picturing too.
Yeah, it's
And I
not.
doubt that interstate was there then, was it?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. So it's probably like some of
They've
this.
developed it,
Yeah.
they took the mountains out.
I think there's a decent chance like some of this might have been a part of it as well.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Huh.
I don't know how long this river has been here.
Pretty weird.
Yeah. I mean, there's almost no like evidence that this was ever here.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, it's been a
kinda
long
crazy.
time too, though. So
Yeah, and it's also New York. So New York, I mean, it does. So Zeckendorf is the owner's name.
no, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's Zeckendorf.
Zeckendorf.
Yeah, that's his first name. His last name is Smith.
Yeah, Zeckendorf went by Zeke.
Yeah, so he was a guy who, he owned the Chrysler building. And
Oh,
so
really?
he was building all these huge skyscrapers all over the city, and then
So it makes sense that he was just trying to get something that would maybe help him break even on a plot of land,
yeah, he held this huge plot of land for a really
knowing
long
that
time.
it was going to
Yeah,
get
and
developed.
so he hired the guy who had a couple failed theme parks on his resume,
He's
and
like, there's
a
no
college
way he can
degree
make a
that he
theme park
was
that
lying
works
about.
great. Right.
Yeah, and then just a couple years after it closed down, the co-op city was open to the public, and so it
And
was.
CV during all their meetings was like, man, this park's just not going to work, man. We might have to run bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. And Zeckendorf was over there like, that'd be a really big bummer.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be.
I'm really sad about this.
That'd be too bad. What if we only opened on the weekends this year?
What if we charged a quarter?
Yeah,
Maybe lower the prices?
lower the price a lot.
Yeah. What if we let people in for free?
Yeah, it's Freedomland, right? It's in
Yeah.
the name.
How many more employees can we kill?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. These old New York developers, they were ruthless.
They were crazy. They were crazy. So, yeah. So he did the co-op city, and that was kind of the end of Freedomland USA.
So what happened to CV though? What does he move on to?
He died.
Did he really?
I mean, eventually.
What year?
He died
He
in
moved on to death?
the next rung of my career is death. 91, I think.
Oh, so that's what I'm saying. What did he do for the last 30 years of his life?
Wait, hold on. 16? I don't know. Hold on. Let me go up.
So I'm saying
92. He died at 92.
was one of his rides. He's like, listen, and for this next ride, you're going to come to my funeral. Right? Cost you a quarter to get in. What did he like? Is this the last thing he did? Is what I'm asking.
No. I mean, it's the last like prominent thing that he did.
Okay.
After that, he taught a class about transcendental meditation for like a couple decades.
Interesting.
Yeah, he did. He worked for the McCollum Motors Company, which was a sponsor of Freedomland. Oh, this is significant. I forgot about this. He told the McCollum Motors Company that London, like the city of London, agreed to allow them to move the London Bridge to America for an ad for McCulloch Motors. He was like, yeah, they said it was cool.
Yeah, I just called him. I called London. Turns out if you just type in 1-800 and then just type the, because the numbers are on the keypad, and you just type the 5, 6. Dude, kids don't know how to text like that. And then, anyway. I just called London.
I think they actually pulled it off, though, now that I'm reading this.
What?
So the London Bridge, after 130 years of service, was being replaced. And so he purchased
That's just what they
it.
call the queen.
They
After 130 years of service.
So they purchased it and they dismantled it stone by stone before they built the new one in its place. And they transported it to US and reassembled it in Arizona.
No,
This
they did
doesn't
not.
sound real.
And he was like, for a car commercial?
What is this?
Are we learning something on the podcast right now?
There's no way this is real. Are you kidding
But
me?
why would you want that in a commercial? Like, what would be the point?
All right, here we go. History Channel. How the London Bridge ended up in Arizona.
Is it still there?
I don't know.
This is crazy. We have to do it. Let's do this as the After the Fiddle. Let's just figure this out later.
That's great. That's great.
If you're a Patreon supporter, you get access to a thing called After the Fiddle.
Yeah.
And the one for this week is going to be whatever this is.
For a quarter, you get to see
For
what
a
an
quarter-
episode is like with the lights off.
Yeah. Or the lights on, I guess, really. Because if you're an audio listener, you don't know that we do this in the dark. You know?
We do every episode in the dark.
What if we just uploaded black videos to YouTube? And we're like, yeah, it's there.
Support us on Patreon for videos with the lights. All right. Well, I mean, here's the deal. I don't know.
What was whatever just happened?
This is the Bronx, man. Fiddle off this guy.
Oh, really? We're done?
We're done. Fiddle him
Oh, you
off.
didn't even do a creative fiddle off.
Yeah, I just fiddle him off. Hey, thanks for watching Things I Learned Last Night. If you like this episode, you can watch more right here, or you can watch some highlights. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It helps us out a lot. Also, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next week.